Hey guys, so a long time ago I made a video response to a woman on the topic of homosexuality. I responded to her, and one of the things that I challenged people in that video, specifically Christians, is I asked, could you actually give me a reason for why you oppose same-sex marriage without using a biblical source? In other words, don't use the Bible, don't really use any religious textbooks. Explain to me why you oppose someone who's gay having the right to marry and having the same rights as any other person. And I recently was sent this video by someone that I found on YouTube, and this is someone attempting to explain to me why they are against homosexuality without using the Bible, and this is what they have to say. I want to make it really clear that I think this person is just uneducated. Don't be very mean to them. I'm going to try to be my very calm and nicest. If this person was older, I would be a lot different in terms of my presentation style, but I think it's important that this person gets educated on the matter at hand, because he's simply wrong on every multiple level for why he opposes same-sex marriage.
Believes in the Christian Bible. It takes from the other religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, which can or cannot be considered religions, a gray area. Confucianism, which isn't a religion, it's a teaching. And Judaism, Islam, but I take all the good things that I feel I believe in all of them and then bring them together. And then I take in but then I still believe Jesus is our Savior and stuff.
It's interesting because I don't really hear a lot of people actually believe this, is where you take a bunch of religions and you take all different parts of the religions and you put them together into one big thing, and then you take the good of those religions and then you follow that. My question to you is, do you believe that every religion that you pull from is true? Because if you do, that's fundamentally flawed, because there's no way, it's not possible for every religion to be true in some way. It's just not. I mean, of the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of religions that are out there, you just can't say that all religions are true or all religions have truth aspects to them. I'm not going to get into the whole relative debate, but the whole idea of relativity and all that stuff is really contradictory, and it's really easily destroyed and falls back on itself. And my big question to you is, why exactly do you feel the need to take away good things from all these religions and apply them to yourself? Now, if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not dissing you for wanting to pull the good things out of religion, although the bad outweigh the good usually. But I'm just curious as to why do you think you need to do that, because that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, you can be a good person, you can help people, you can love people, you can do anything without using these concepts of mercy, love, and compassion, and like Christianity. Christianity teaches all these things: forgiveness, acceptance, love, and all this shit. But why do you need to follow that religion, or any religion for that matter, in order to do those things? That's what I've never understood, is why can't you just be a good person and do those things because you're a good person? Why do you have to use religion as a justification for why you do those things?
Now, I disagree with homosexuality. That does not mean I hate it. My English teachers this year taught me that you can disagree with something. I have homosexual friends, transgender friends. I support them. I have given them advice.
At this point, I'm very curious as to what type of advice that you have given them.
And I will not prejudice. I don't understand it, so I don't. So that's why I disagree with it. But I don't think people should be prejudiced against them or should be harmed by that. Now, homosexuality, like it says in the Bible, is a sin, but the reason I disagree with it is because I grew up in a white household in Southern Illinois, Christian, and I never experienced it.
Okay, let me explain to you why this line of thinking is really flawed. And the reason that I say that is just because you haven't experienced something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. 2, doesn't mean that you can deny someone the right to get married simply because, again, you don't understand it. And 3, man, if I thought the way you did, I would not agree with a lot of things, because there's a lot of things that I personally don't understand. For example, the topic of biological evolution. That's a really big topic. There's a lot of really technical things. I understand evolution for what it is on a very basic level. When you get into really deep scientific, explanations and theories of evolution and stuff, it starts to go over my head. I don't understand all of it, and I fully admit that. But does that mean that I have to disagree with it because I don't understand it? No, just because you don't understand something doesn't mean you have to deny something. I mean, if that was the case, there would be a lot of Christians who were coming out as atheists because, number one, Christians all the time admit that they don't understand God. So by your line of reasoning, a lot of Christians don't understand God, therefore they should disagree with the existence of God. You see where I'm going with this? Now, the next thing you say is that you lived in a white household, you never experienced being around homosexuals or whatever. My question is, would you say the same thing about racism? Now, let's just say, for example, you've never experienced racism because you're white, or I'm just using this as an example. You've never seen racism. Does that mean that you disagree with racism? Because you've never, one, experienced it, two, ever seen it, and three, have never been oppressed because you're white.
I also think with the recent court case, the Supreme Court's gay case, that it should have been the opposite, not because I hate it, but because I think it should be a state decision. Because if someone who is homosexual lives in goes to, say, New York, they should be allowed to be gay there because it's legal, or was legal before. And then Texas, if someone's homosexual there, and since it wasn't legal, they could always move somewhere.
Okay, here's the problem with that, is basically you want the state to be able to discriminate against people's sexuality. Why is it not okay for a state to discriminate against someone's race? And I say that is because there's a lot of southern states currently right now which are still very racist as we speak, just for being gay. If a gay person wants to live in Texas, they should be able to live in Texas. That shouldn't be discriminated about not being able to allow it in the state or not live in the state because they're gay. Telling them, well, you should just move because it's not legal here, doesn't solve a problem. Doesn't fix the fundamental problem with the state legislation. Doesn't solve the problem of blatant discrimination. This type of thinking that you have is extremely damaging to people, and it divides people rather than brings them together as a community.
Recent clerk in Kentucky. I'm not the best with that. I'm not that familiar, but I believe there were other clerks there. So I understand she has the beliefs not to give that. So, and then when she went to jail, I at first thought, oh, she was a church member, like she worked for the church. I found out later she worked for the government, and she was told by the courts, you have to. In that case, there were other clerks, which is what they've come down to, is they can give it out, and since she's the head one, as long as she doesn't do anything with them and hurt them and how they deal it, they'll be fine. So, how I see it is, she shouldn't have to give them, especially since there's other people that there can and will. If no one there would, then obviously there's a problem. And
the problem with the whole Kim Davis scenario is that she actually was making the clerks not issue marriage license because she was the head up on the powerhouse of that small office. She had full control over everything. So she was basically demanding people not to issue marriage license. Now that has been taken away, and now they are issuing marriage license, but the trick is, she recently was found removing her names from the marriage license themselves and removing things off the marriage license for same-sex couples so her name wouldn't be associated with the marriage license being given out by the clerks because that's what the judge ordered. But even then, she still interfered with the county clerks issuing marriage licenses, and that to me is wrong on every level. She can have her religious beliefs, but if she's trying to interfere with what these people are doing of issuing marriage licenses because it's against her religious conviction, then she is a bigot and discriminating against them, and you need to understand that that type of behavior is wrong. Have your religious convictions, but if you treat people differently because of those religious convictions, you are discriminating against them. It's that simple. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make this video response to this kid. I really don't think that he means any harm. Also, before we end, I'd like to recommend an awesome audiobook. Coming Out Under the Fire, A History of Gay Men and Women in World War II. This is a book that I recently read on Audible, and it is fantastic. You can get this book for absolutely free if you use my vanity URL right down below, audible.com/MrRepzion. If you use my vanity URL for audible.com, they host hundreds and hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. They have over 180,000 in their library. Audible.com/MrRepzion. If you sign up using my vanity URL, link down below into this description, you'll get a 1-month free trial for audible.com along with a free audiobook of your choosing. I hope that I have some people who may be gay who are wanting to come out. This book may inspire you to actually come out. Because people back in the days in World War II being gay, that was a time where people did not understand being gay at all.